Crete, silence between empires. It begins with the wind. Not a gust, not a storm, but something older, slow, constant. The kind of wind that's always been here, that shaped the rocks before names existed, that still moves the branches, even when no one is watching. From above, the island doesn't reveal itself in full. Crete stretches like a sleeping giant, half in the sun, half in thought. Its spine is mountain, its skin is stone, its breath is the sea. The drone drifts low over hills scorched by summer. Olive trees hold their places, gnarled, silver, steady. Fields open and close like lungs, not planted in neat squares, but curved and carved by memory. This is not modern agriculture. This is inheritance. Roads emerge as thin ribbons, never straight, never forcing. They twist where the terrain twists, as if guided not by GPS, but by respect. The land is dry, cracked, ancient, but alive, in the way that old things are. You don't hear water, but you feel it. Hidden in wells, in roots, in the steam rising off the coastline far ahead. And then, cliffs. The edge of the island breaks apart like thought into language. Stone falls to sea, and the water takes it, not violently, but inevitably. This is not the sea of postcards. It is not calm, not welcoming. It is wild, and proud, and full of memory. The waves move in rhythm, not of the moon, but of history. They've carried traders, invaders, refugees, fishermen, priests, and once, civilization itself. Because long before the world had borders, before Athens, before Rome, there was here, Kisamos, the Minoans, a people who lived in color while others still lived in caves. They built palaces, not fortresses, painted dolphins and lilies, not spears. They worshipped the female divine. They wrote in lines we still haven't fully understood. And then they disappeared. Maybe the sea rose. Maybe the earth shook. Maybe time simply passed, but the land remained. The drone passes over a ridge. Terraced walls lean into the hill like tired shoulders. A chapel sits alone, white against the dry gold of the slope. Its door is closed, but someone lit a candle there this morning. They always do. There are villages scattered across this island, but they do not shout. They do not flash neon or concrete. They are low, and old, and real. The kind of places built from what was nearby, not what was imported. Crete is not polished, it is textured. Every wall here has known both laughter and mourning. Every step has echoed the songs of the living and the silence of the gone. The farther you fly, the more you feel it. That Crete is not just a place. It is a presence, a rhythm, a whisper that doesn't ask for translation, only time. And time is something Crete knows well. This island has been touched by every empire that ever dared cross the Mediterranean. Romans carved their roads through its hills. Byzantines built their chapels here, layer upon layer of faith and fresco. Arabs brought their domes and calligraphy. Venetians raised walls that still hold fast, even after 600 years of wind and salt. Ottomans planted minarets that pierced the skyline and left behind a language of shadows and silence. Crete absorbed it all, not passively, not quietly, but deeply, fiercely. It is said that the Cretans never truly surrendered, not to empire, not to war, not to time. When others kneeled, they disappeared into mountains, and when the world forgot them, they remembered themselves. And so Crete waits, not as a tourist playground, but as a mirror to anyone still willing to look. There are villages scattered across this island, but they do not shout. They do not flash neon or concrete. They are low and old and real. The kind of places built from what was nearby, not what was imported. It's a mirror, yes, but not the kind you glance at quickly. It's the kind that slows you down. The kind that shows you not just what you are, but what you've become. You look into Crete long enough, and something begins to look back. You start to notice the weight of centuries layered beneath every shadow. Not in ruins, but in footsteps, in habits, in the way a table sits half in the sun, in how an old man nods once instead of speaking. You feel that everything here was done before, not because it's tradition, but because it worked. It made sense. It didn't need changing. The mountains, they've seen more than you ever will, and they don't need to tell you that. They just stand. They let the clouds brush them. They let the goats pass. They let you film them if you're quiet. Below, the plains are not empty. They're watchful, scattered with groves and walls, like a language without letters. When the drone glides across them, it's not discovering, it's revisiting. You begin to understand. Crete doesn't keep time the way the world does. The clocks here run differently. Not in seconds, but in seasons. Not in hours, but in harvests. This land has been broken, but never truly conquered. It has burned. It has resisted. It has waited. And always, always, it has returned to itself. Even in the darkest chapters, occupation, invasion, betrayal, the Cretan people never let go of who they were. They buried their strength in the rocks. They sang it into their lullabies. They passed it from hand to hand like bread. And what about now? What is Crete today? It's more than maps or tour guides can name. It's military bases and ferry routes. It's ancient sites and neon bars. It's EU policy and shepherd's cheese. It's contradiction, beautifully unresolved. But above all, it is presence. Crete doesn't ask to be understood. It invites you to stay long enough that understanding no longer matters. Now the drone drifts toward Kisamos. Kisamos, or Kisamos, depending on which map you trust, is more than a dot on the coast. It's a hinge between worlds. The place where sea meets valley, where trade meets memory, where local life folds into the horizon without resistance. It was once called Castelli, a Venetian port fortified with walls, long since softened by salt and time. The name still echoes in conversation. Castelli, said with affection, like a nickname only old friends are allowed to use. Today, Kisamos is quiet, but don't mistake that for stillness. Beneath the slowness lies weight, of habit, of land, of generations who never felt the need to leave. You pass over a rooftop where grapes dry on wire racks. A grandmother in black adjusts them with bare hands, not because she has to, but because someone must. In the town square, children play with a football worn down to its threads. Laughter, echoing off walls painted once, long ago. Time here moves in soft spirals, not forward, but around. There are bakeries that never closed, cafes that never modernized, shops that sell exactly what they sold 50 years ago: soap, thread, shoes, olives. Not because they resist change, but because change never insisted. The port breathes differently. You can feel it in the nets, heavy with salt, drying on the concrete walls. You can feel it in the paint on the boats, bright, chipped, honest. Some of these vessels have crossed to Libya. Some just drift in the bay. All of them belong here. Kisamos has history in its stones, but it doesn't turn them into spectacle. A few Roman mosaics, a chapel built atop an older one. Nothing fenced off, nothing staged. The past lives here, not behind glass, but underfoot. And then, the sea again. Always the sea. From Kisamos, the view west is endless, a vanishing line where water meets sky. At dusk, it becomes a mirror. At night, a silence. For some, Kisamos is a beginning, the ferry point to Balos, to Gramvusa, to the turquoise postcards. For others, it is the end, the last breath before turning inland. But for the people who live here, it is neither. It is simply home. And that, in a world moving ever faster, is the rarest thing of all. You don't see it at first. It appears gently, rooftops rising from the trees, streets tracing soft lines between courtyards and color. White walls hold heat from the sun. Blue shutters half open to the sea. Shadows from olive trees spill onto cracked pavement. And in the slow rhythm of the camera, life begins to unfold. This is not Athens, not Heraklion. This is a town that breathes with its own lungs, that wakes when it wants, that sleeps when it's ready. A woman sweeps dust from her steps. A dog follows her like a second thought. Two men speak over coffee without moving their hands. A boy kicks a ball against a wall, again and again and again. There's no spectacle here, just presence. The drone passes above the port. Boats rock gently. Nets dry in the sun. Fish are sold in silence. Nothing is rushed. You see the same hands that have worked this water for generations. You see patience. You see rhythm. You see something that doesn't need to be explained. Kisamos is not a secret. It simply refuses to shout. And as the drone rises again, pulling back toward the coast, the hills, the memory of the journey, you begin to understand. Crete isn't something you watch. It's something you absorb. It is a song with no chorus, just verses and echoes and wind. And when you leave, because you will, it won't feel like an ending. It will feel like something old, waiting to return. Thanks for watching and flying with us. If Crete moved you even a little, leave a comment, drop a like, subscribe if you're curious what waits on the next road, because every landscape has a story, and some stories only unfold from above.